All right, guys, welcome back. I'm going to be talking about the youth hunts. So these hunts are obviously designed for youth hunters only. Anytime you see youth hunt, it is specifically for hunters between the ages of 10 and 18 and that have a hunter's education class, course, card, certification, whatever you want to call it. I believe the cutoff is 16. I think if you're over the 16, you don't have to have a hunter's ed certificate, but 10 to 16, you got to have a hunter's ed. And so they offer these elk hunts, cow hunts only, for youth hunters. And they offer them in great times of year, in great units to hunt these cows, and a really good chance to be successful. So I'm going to touch on youth hunts, and then I want to touch on just cow hunts in general. But these youth hunts are a really good atmosphere to kind of get kids exposed. And what's really important is not to push kids too hard. Just a little guide coaching, right off the bat is it's kind of like anything. You want your kid to play sports, or you want to do it, and if you push them too hard, too fast, they may never ever want to pick up a basketball again, or hit a baseball ever again. So it's really important to make it fun and not all about just killing something anytime you're going and taking youth hunting. That's just first and foremost. And I take that approach in a lot of people just in general. I think if we put too much pressure on killing the biggest animal all the time, it takes away from the actual hunting experience that we're really intended to have when we go hunting. And that's the memories we take away from it. Most of my hunting memories have to do with campfires and laughing, and some of the antics with friends and family and fellow guides and things like that. That's really what I remember from a lot of my hunts, both guided and personal hunts. I remember kind of the experience. And so I try to keep that in mind as much as we want these kids to whack their first elk or whatever it is, but to keep that under control and kind of curb that into a place where our excitement and our drive doesn't turn them off to the experience, nor does it force them to walk 8 miles in some nasty country that they're sore and won't ever want to do that again, or can't even hike the next day because their blisters are so bad. Anyway, these youth hunts are really good in good units. I mean, Unit 8, Unit 10, Unit 6A, Unit 3. I mean, these are fantastic areas to hunt elk. These are units that elk are very prevalent, very in good numbers, and not very far from roads, which is important if you got a 12-year-old with you and you just killed a bullback somewhere 1.5 miles. That's going to be a problem if it's just you and a 12-year-old kid. First of all, their safety is most important, and ensuring the elk meat is going to stay good. That's also the secondary, but safety is most important for these kids. And also, touching on that too, as far as the safety aspect is, it's not a bad idea to wear orange in these hunts. There's a lot of kids running around, not the most experienced with firearms just because of their age, and a lot of adults that may not be as experienced with firearms, trying to coach these kids and have them get their first elk and things like that. So just not a bad idea to wear orange in these elk hunts with these kids, just so they understand that safety does outweigh success on a hunt. But so when you're going in these areas in any of these units, and like I said, the main ones, Unit 6A, Unit 10, Unit 8, these elk are not very far from the roads typically. You don't have to hike too far, but you still need to do your scouting. You still need to do your research. You still need to get after it. You still need to hunt. You need to show the kids that the right way to go about things, which is obviously ethical. You're not shooting from the roads. You're not doing these things. You're not undercutting somebody. It's really important that these hunts be educational as much as anything. Understanding how to go about, if you see somebody stalking in on an elk, or you see somebody shooting, that you don't go right over and try to shoot at the same animal. All these things I'm saying because I've heard feedback and experienced things that I've seen, heard, all that from these youth hunts that I feel like people need to understand before they even go into these hunts, that it's more about ethics and teaching the right way to go about hunting. But if you're going to draw one of these tags, you want your kid to draw one of these tags, it's a fantastic hunt. Again, you got to do a little research. You got to scout. It's not just going to happen. You're not just going to have a cow walk in front of you, and understand that you're probably not going to be hunting 15, 16 hours a day. Understand that you got to get up early. You got to hunt these elk. You got to show kids how to do that, but you really want to not push it. It's going to be hot. These hunts are in October for the most part, and during the day it's pretty hot. So you really want to kind of take it easy during that middle of the day, and then go hunting kind of morning, afternoon style of hunting. You can do it however you want to do it. I'm just offering suggestions from my experience and taking kids hunting, and my own experience as a kid in one of these hunts. It's pretty important just to make it more fun and safe. And then, the third thing is actually killing an elk. So because it's hot, and what I touched on earlier, if you have a 12-year-old with you, he's not going to be carrying a hind quarter of an elk. It's really important that you have a plan for preparing for the elk. So it may be your first elk hunt as well, taking your kid hunting. You may be going with some friends that have done it before. When you shoot this elk, you really do your research. There's a lot of really good videos out there, how to prepare, how to field dress an elk. There's 10 different ways to field dress an elk properly, 10 different ways to keep the meat right. But one thing is for sure, you need game bags that keep flies out. You need some rope to hang the elk up in a tree, and you need a tarp. And that doesn't cost very much, and it doesn't weigh very much, but you need to be ready to let that elk hang if you shoot it somewhere that you cannot get it out all the way, or you shot one in the afternoon and it died at night, and you just can't, you can't keep everyone safe and get the elk out all at the same time, which is the most important thing. So understand that you don't want to go hiking too crazy 3 or 4 miles if you don't have the people, if you don't have the manpower and the know-how to get elk out of there. Also understand that you can't just drive your quad everywhere. This is a really big thing. There are a lot of quads and side-by-sides ripping around on these hunts. You can't drive them off-road typically. And in some of these units you can to retrieve game, but use that very, very conservatively. Use that right and privilege very conservatively, because it's getting shut down more and more. So if you kill an elk in a reasonable area, do your best to try to get it out on your back, if at all possible, in a pack frame or whatever. So, but a lot of equipment things are asked about, but so that's kind of what I want to touch on. You can obviously hire a guide or an outfitter for these youth hunts. That's not a bad idea, especially if it's your first time. You want to get your kids involved, or get a group of kids and some family members together, and really have a safe and a good educational time with some kids on an outfitted hunt. And still you can help, educate and encourage your kids without worrying about maybe where to go and all the guns and the stuff that you may not have as much experience with, taking care of an elk and where to go, where to put it, how to get it cold, how to all that kind of stuff, logistic stuff that really is the value in a guide and outfitter. But if you're going by yourself, definitely a couple things you need to have. You need to bring coolers to keep that elk cold if you kill one. Go into the hunt with ice in your coolers. Just a little note there. Like have ice ready in your coolers. Like I said before, have some paracord to hang it in a tree. Have a pack frame. Have a tarp. Have game bags. Enough game bags, and game bags that are big enough to hold elk quarters. Those are really, really important things just to start. And then obviously your survival gear will work down from there. Really important to have water. Anytime you're dealing with kids, you need to carry extra water. You need to carry extra safety equipment. You need to carry extra kind of meds, whether that's allergy stuff. Just really want to make this fun. And it's not fun doesn't always mean easy. I don't want to sound like I want you just to have this try to be the easiest little hunt but it needs to be fun is challenging, but within reason and within safety boundaries that are important. So try to just keep that in mind. So good luck on the youth hunts if you guys are looking to do that. I don't have any strong recommendation one hunt or the other. 6A is great, 8 is great, Unit 10 is great, Unit 3. All these are really great hunts. Just do what you feel comfortable with, or maybe you have a friend or what somebody recommends to you. There is elk in every one of these units. They don't have these youth hunts in spots that do not have elk. They really have these youth hunts in areas so that youth can be successful and carrying on the tradition of hunting. So I want to touch on cow hunting too. Just join in with this video. Cow hunting is the same way. There are a lot of really great cow hunts in Unit 1, Unit 27, Unit 8, Unit 9, Unit 10, Unit 6A. Fantastic elk units to draw cow tags, to understand that whole meat gathering process. A lot of people are getting into that. I want to know how to hunt. I want to know how to get meat. I want to eat organic meat. I want to try this wild game thing. All this kind of stuff. So cow hunts are a perfect opportunity for you to go hunting, understand, learn, and have some really awesome organic wild game, some organic venison for your freezer that will supplement any other meat that you have for the rest of the year. And elk really does go a long way in the freezer when you make burger and you make steaks and you do all this stuff that you add in. And it really is a more nutritious way to go about eating red meat, just in general. I like ribeyes for sure, but most of the meat that I eat is definitely venison. Or wild caught salmon or halibut from Alaska, because I go up there to do that a lot too. So cow hunts are great. They don't take a lot of bonus points. They don't take a lot of commitment. You can do a guided hunt for cow hunts. What works better if you get a group of hunters together, like 2 to 4 hunters on a cow hunt, where you guys can all chip in, pay for a guided hunt or an outfitted or scouting deal. Really, guided hunts, the reason why it's better in groups is because cows are in groups. So when you go on these hunts, most of the time you're seeing groups of 8 to 20 cows together. So it's a really good opportunity for guys to get together and shoot multiple cows on the same hunt, and really make it worth it. For a meat gathering perspective, and also for just general hunting approach. It's good to have numbers. It's kind of like javelina hunting. You usually don't see a lone javelina. You see them in groups. Cow elk are the same way. Bull elk are different, but cows, it's great to have some hunters with you, some buddies with you. Obviously, you need friends to help you pack it out. It's a very family, group, friend, educational type of hunt. Really brings you back to the tradition of hunting and gathering, and I'm just all about that. And I love taking guided hunters on these cow hunts, because it literally is all about hunting and gathering and learning and understanding the patterns of these elk and how to prepare them, and how to really enjoy the full circle of life that these elk live, and us on the back end, where we expend a ton of energy to harvest these elk, and then getting that elk back to us safely in the freezer, broken down, butchered, whether you do it yourself, which is really fun, which I like to help people with. And also if you bring it to a processor, and just a satisfaction knowing that you provided the meat for your family or for yourself or whatever. And it really brings a connection to your food. And that's really important for me, not to go kind of like out there and hippie on you, but it's a really cool thing when you go from, geeking out on all the guns and the gear and stuff like that, and then coming back and you're having a meal with your family, and it's something that, all that effort and all that prepping and all that time and the physical exertion that it takes in a lot of these elk hunts really is worth it. And that's the end product, is you having really healthy meat for everyone to enjoy. So, all right, guys. That's youth hunting, that's cow hunting. Just want to touch on that. I don't want to skip it. It's very important for a lot of people, and it's very important to me. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Leave some questions in the comments below. I'll try to get to them when I get a chance. But good luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and good luck on the draw.